week for anybody that missed it, gets booted off, or wants to review it in the future. So we will record it. We're going to start the recording now, and then we will have the slide deck available and this presentation available on the website. So welcome, welcome. We are going to have quite a few people, I think, still joining us, but we're going to get started. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, there is an option to ask your questions in the chat box. Either Amy McElroy, who's our K-8 Dean, or Michelle Gasser, who is currently a 4th grade teacher, but is moving into a role as a professional development coach, will be there to help answer those questions. Additionally, if it's grade level specific questions, we are going to do breakout sessions at the end of this presentation, where you'll actually get to meet some of those grade level teachers that your students will be working with in the fall. So if you have questions that are particular to your grade level, you might want to wait until we go into those breakout rooms, so that makes sense. And then we'll come back, and any other questions you have just as a STEM as a whole, we would be happy to answer. So we're going to mute everybody. I'm going to keep mine open, so as we get going and I call on different presenters, I will apologize ahead of time if my dogs start to bark, because being at home, that is one of the wonderful consequences of Zooming from home. So welcome, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Michelle Gasser, is everyone able to see that? Michelle, are you able to view that?
Yes, we can see it. You're going to want to go into present mode though, so it's a little bigger.
Yeah, I was just waiting for it to go down. All right, welcome everybody. Let's see if I get back to the beginning of the presentation. All right, welcome to our New to STEM Parent webinar. On a normal year, we would have you in the school. We would meet together in the cafeteria and then break out into subgroups and do a little tour. And we'd have this presentation in person. Just as you know, the year has shifted, and this is our Zoom webinar presentation. So welcome. On the screen here, we have quite a few of our admin team. Dr. Euchre is our executive director, myself, the director at elementary school K-5, Amy McElroy, she is on this call. I don't know if she's able to be seen, but she might give a little wave. Liz Dugan is the head of school. She's K-12 head of school. Dr. Johnson, who might be joining us here shortly, she is the director of curriculum and accountability. And then Michelle Gasser, who's helping with the presentation. She's going to be the elementary instructional coach and professional development coordinator. So those are the team of administrators that are going to be working with your children. STEM is a PBL school, and I'm going to hand this over to Michelle Gasser to share a little bit more about what that means.
Right. So as a PBL school, what we do is we like to bring as much of the real world as we can into our classrooms. And as you can see here, this is our gold standard PBL learning cycle that we like to go through. Typically, because this is a cycle, it will go, it can go in many different directions, but we typically start with a challenging problem or question. And this is related to a standard or a group of standards within a unit. Through that, we work with the students on making it authentic and real world and engaging for them. Why would they even care to solve this problem? We like to bring in student voice and choice as well, so that they have the opportunity to present or to share their learning in multiple different ways, whether it's through a presentation, whether it's through videos using a Flipgrid, whether it's through coding a robot or such. That's where the student voice and choice comes in. A big piece then would be the reflection. We have the students reflect back on their work. What would they do differently? What went well, what didn't go well? And then the critique and revision portion, that goes together with the public product as well. So we have a lot of our projects, or some of our projects, we take to experts in the field. Sometimes those are parents, sometimes those are industry leaders, and the students then present to receive the feedback that they can then take and make a revision to their original design. And then we have those public products. Sometimes those public products are big pieces, and sometimes those public products are hung around the school. So they're in very different forms.
And this occurs through all of our classrooms, K through 5. In addition to, with that focus of PBL, the students are still taught those foundational skills. So they're still learning the basics in the reading, writing, math, science, engineering, and social studies. But all of their work and their focus for practice and demonstrating that understanding of those basic skills are embedded in those PBLs that the students are doing. I'm going to go ahead and introduce some of our Spartan staff for next year. Our support team, our front office and maintenance, these are the individuals that are going to make sure that you're welcomed when you arrive, and the students arrive every morning and answer questions and help with registration, answer phone calls when you're there needing to call a student in sick or a personal absence. Miss Adamak will be there to greet you. Mrs. Valentine and Miss Collada, those are our health assistants. So they're there to support our students in the classroom, my apologies, and on campus. So if they're not feeling well on campus, and then also with COVID, definitely there to answer questions and make phone calls and check on students and support families. For facilities, we have Maria Fountain and Eddie Gibson, and they are there keeping our school clean, safe. So they're definitely a great team to have, and the students all get to know them very well. They're part of our STEM community. We have our kindergarten team. We have Miss Braska, Miss Murillo, Miss Sanchez, and Miss Thatcher. Each kindergarten class has an instructional assistant. Currently, we have Miss Lundy, which she wasn't here when we took school photos. So Miss Lundy is a kindergarten instructional assistant. Mrs. Upadhyaya and Mrs. Hartman. Our fourth one is moving into more of a leadership role. So we will be looking to hire a full-time kindergarten instructional assistant. And so they're paired up with one class. So each kindergarten class has a teacher and an instructional assistant to support with the learning in their classrooms. Our first grade team consists of Mrs. Thomas, Miss Bench, and Miss Bonsack. We are in the process of hiring a fourth first grade team member. Second grade, we have Mrs. Logue, Miss Slater, and Miss Brooke. There will also be one more second grade. So we have a second grade opening and a first grade. Our third grade team is Mr. Thatcher, Miss Mal, Mrs. Martin, and Miss Swihart. Fourth grade is Mrs. Tracy, Miss Phelps, Mr. Jacobson, and Mrs. McKinney. And our fifth grade team is Mrs. O'Toole, Miss Land, Miss Harper, and Miss Amos. And I believe we have at least one teacher from each of the grade levels on the call today, and they'll be available to meet with you and share a little bit more about those particular grade levels towards the end of the presentation. In addition to our kindergarten full-time instructional assistants, we have elementary instructional assistants that are assigned to each grade level. So every grade level has one instructional assistant. So for 4 classrooms, there's one instructional assistant. That assistant floats in between the classes to help with small group instruction one-on-one. They also take them to the playground, out to recess, and help with dismissal and arrival times in the Driveline. Oh, we have Miss Schindler, Miss Gimbel, Miss Kale is in 4th grade. She came on late and also does not have a school photo. And then we have elementary instructional assistants, and they are part-time and they help us with lunch and recess. and Miss Ake is with us, we'll have a total of 3 next year. Our specials teams, our students at STEM attend 4 different specials throughout the course of the year. So they have Miss Newman for Chinese, Mr. Bruhl for PE, Miss Nichols for music, and Mrs. Delomo for art. Our learning support staff, students that need a little bit of extra support. We have Mrs. Stoller for speech language pathologist. Shelley Goody is our learning specialist and case manager. Miss Lundy is a school psychologist. Mrs. Groling, occupational therapist, and Miss Judd is a learning specialist aide. So she is able to provide some of that one-on-one and small group assistance per IEPs. When we went over, I guess the slide was a little bit off, but the specials rotation. So as I mentioned, every student attends the specials. So we have Chinese, art, music, and PE. They do attend for a week. For K1, they will go Monday through Friday to each of those classes for about 45 minutes. So they'll have Chinese 1 week, art the next, music, and then PE, and then it repeats. For 2nd through 5th grade, it's a 2-week rotation. So they spend actually 10 straight days, the same 45, 50 minutes in each of those rotations. Engineering and technology are embedded through those times. And the reason STEM uses that sort of planning as far as specials, it allows the students to engage in those PBLs and work collaboratively with the classroom teachers to focus some of the learning that they might be doing in science, they might be able, or math, they would be able to utilize and create here in the specials. So the image right there is of a miniature golf set that they were creating. So in math, they were doing area and perimeter, and then they designed their own miniature golf set, and then they actually created it and were able to utilize it in PE. Field trips. We were able to attend a couple field trips right in the last week or two, and we're very hopeful that next year we will be able to resume some of our field trips. Our students are very fortunate here at STEM that we are able to send our students out quite frequently. I would say almost once a month or every other month, the students at different grade levels per grade level are heading out on different field trips. The field trips are definitely related to the content or the area that they're studying at that time. But here are just some of the field trips that our students go on. We do charter buses. So there's an additional cost to that, but we charter buses and they go out off into campus and they work hand in hand with some of these different organizations. I think I have a teacher or two. Let me see, who can I call on that other than Michelle? Ms. Bench, did you want to talk about any of your field trips and the connection to first grade learning?
Sure. So for example, when we're studying animal characteristics and adaptations, we'll go and we'll take a learning experience through Roxborough State Park. They'll do a lesson with us. We'll take a hike and see different animal tracks and animals throughout the park. And then on top of that, we also go and explore the Cave of the Winds, and that relates also to our animal adaptations lessons, but also helps with our light and sound as well. So it really ties into everything. The Botanic Gardens, we study plants at the end of the year when everything's blooming, and so that's always a fun one. And the kids always have just a great time.
Awesome. Is Miss Logan? Miss Logan, did you want to mention just a thing or two about second grade?
Miss Logue isn't on, but I am.
Oh, hi, Miss Leader. Go for it.
For second grade, we go to a bunch of fun places that tie in a lot of our science units, such as Keystone School Science School. It has a lot to do with solids and liquids. So we spend a lot of time talking about how there's the solids and liquids, the snow, and we talk about what happens when it freezes, and the kids get to explore in hands-on activities. For Cheyenne Mountain Zoo, we are able to talk about the animal habitats and the biomes and just dive into our animal unit. And same with just the Gardens of the Gods and Hudson's Gardens, that falls into our Earth unit, or science Earth unit, which we talk about the erosion of the Earth and how the Earth is made. So a lot of it has to tie in with our science units and history units, and the kids just have a great time learning in person and experiencing that.
And then for the other ones, during that grade level breakout session, if you have questions about them or if they want to share a little bit more, they can go into greater detail about the field trips they get to go on. I am going to hand it over to Amy McElroy. As I mentioned before, she is our K-8 Dean, and she works with all of our students with Spartan character values and our positive intervention support system. So, Ms. Mack.
Yes. Hi, I'm Amy McElroy. I am the K-8 Dean, so I help support both elementary and middle school with managing behaviors and peer relationships. At STEM, all of our students are here to learn, but not just that academic content, but the learning also includes like how to behave in a variety of settings, like how to behave appropriately, how to manage peer relations, and then how to problem solve if conflict does arise. So that's kind of like my role at STEM. So we do follow the PBIS model. You can go back to the other slide. We follow the PBIS model, though we're not a true PBIS school, we still follow that model. And it's really a proactive approach to school discipline. The focus is on prevention and not punishment. So our students are explicitly taught expectations, social emotional skills during class throughout the entire year. We lean heavily on teaching our students how to demonstrate our Spartan characteristics, which are respect, responsibility, integrity, honesty, and empathy. So all the focus is on these positive things our students do, and we reward those positive behaviors. Students have the opportunity to earn Spartan tickets by demonstrating one of the Spartan characteristics. And so when the students earn a ticket, they actually get to go to the office and they turn in half of their ticket to the office, and then they get a sticker that says, "You've been caught showing Spartan values." And then at the bottom it says, "Please ask your son or daughter what they did." And so the students will put it on, and then you get to see it when they get home, and you can ask them, you know, "What did you do today to earn your Spartan ticket?" And they should be able to tell you exactly what they did to get their ticket. And so after they've collected or earned like those 3 tickets, they get to trade in a ticket for a bracelet. And on that bracelet, it might say respect. So if they've earned 3 respect tickets, then they would get a bracelet for respect. And the goal is for them to collect all 5 bracelets, and then they ultimately get the All-Star Spartan bracelet. Also, in addition to our kind of our bracelet system or our ticket system, we do a Spartan of the Month drawing. So each time they earn a golden ticket, they get entered into the monthly drawing. And at the end of the month, we draw 2 students from each grade to be the Spartan of the Month. And so those students get recognized at our monthly assembly if we get to have them next year. We didn't get to have them this year because of COVID, but if we get to have them next year, they'll be recognized at our monthly assembly in the parent newsletter. And then they also get their picture on the Spartan of the Month bulletin board that's like out front in front of our office. And then they get a little goodie bag, which they always look forward to. We also do, because some students consistently demonstrate those Spartan characteristics and they go kind of above and beyond. And so these students can be nominated for a Spartan Star Award, and they can be nominated by any staff member. And so students who earn this reward receive a positive phone call home, either from myself or Ms. Kowaleski, and then they get their very own star that gets to hang on the Spartan Wall of Fame. And then also on this slide specifically are kind of the behavior expectations. There's 2 links. So the first link is the behavior expectations by location. So we have some specific kind of behavior expectations for like the cafeteria, in the hallway, out at Driveline. And so those are just the expectations by the location. And then we also have some behavior expectations that are listed. They're the same expectations, but they're listed more by the Spartan characteristics. And so that way students can see like what kind of behaviors do I need to have in order to demonstrate our Spartan characteristics. Go to the next slide. So in addition to our kind of the PBS model that we follow, We also focus on restorative practices. Restorative practices, or restorative justice, it's kind of the other name for it, originally comes from the criminal justice system as a way for like an offender to repair the relationships and make things right with the victim. Schools have kind of adopted this model in more of a mindset that allows students to build really strong relationships with one another and take responsibility for their actions. Restorative practices really allow students to own what they did and make things right with people who they may have affected. In turn, what this does is it's going to strengthen the overall relationships and the community of the school. Restorative practices really focuses on more of the not natural consequences and not punishment. There's still discipline, there's still consequences that happen. We're just focusing more on the natural consequences. It also allows students to have a choice and to take accountability for their actions. Schools that use restorative practices see stronger relationships between students, staff, admin. There's also a strong sense of community, which can help reduce bullying, promote inclusion, and help develop problem solving and communication skills. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. At STEM, teachers here have students participate in community building circles in their classrooms. And these circles help develop a strong sense of classroom community and strong peer relationships. And so when a problem does arise within the class, the students are confident and comfortable with each other, that they're able to hold problem solving circles and help develop solutions to the problem that they may have, and then maintain those strong relationships. And then kind of my role in this is when kids are like sent to me because of maybe a behavior or a problem that they're having, I always focus kind of on 4 questions. I always ask the students, what happened? What were you thinking at the time? Who did it affect? And what can we do to make it right? So a lot of our restorative practice stuff is focused on working together with the student to develop these problem solving skills that help them maintain their relationships. If you guys have any more questions, I can answer those kind of at the end of the presentation.
Student fees. So K through 8 does have student fees. I'm going to just include a link here to our handbook on how those students' fees are used. Last year, and more than likely this year, a lot of the student fees are going to be going to creating those individualized supply kits. Until we know that we're out of the clear with COVID, we had supplied the students with all of the supplies that they would need to ensure that every student had the scissors, the crayons, rulers, whatever it was that the grade level had needed. But we created those kits and we sent them home the week before school started. But I have a feeling that as what I've heard as of right now, until we know that we're free to have those community kits on our desks or in the flexible seating, every student would have their own kits. So at STEM, there are very few things that the parents are actually needed to buy. So you don't have to start hitting those Target and Walmart sales in June when they come out. We'll get most of what you need. Things that we do ask is that a water bottle, that parents provide students with a water bottle with their name on it. Our water fountains are covered due to COVID, but we have the water bottle filler station. So we ask that you do send them with a water bottle. A lot of teachers ask for headphones or ear pods. An art sketchbook for art. I know she asked that they purchase a sketchbook, but it's very minimal. I think that each grade level has definitely under 10 items. It's not your typical supply list at a school. So that link will be available on this presentation on the website at the end of the week. Assessments, our students do have assessments as dictated per the state. We follow DCSD with the iReady testing. So students take that reading and math in fall, winter, and spring, the diagnostics testing. The COGAT testing is for gifted and talented. That's for 2nd, 5th grade. Any parent wanting their child to be tested on an off year, they can request testing on those off years, but every 2nd grader and 5th grader takes the COGAT test. MAP testing for science, we do that fall, winter, and spring. And then the CMAS testing, which typically all grades take these tests that are listed, but this last year with COVID, the state had minimized the testing. So it was every other grade tested for English. And I cannot remember which grades took what, but it was like maybe 3rd grade took the English language arts and 4th grade took math and 5th grade took English language arts, or vice versa. They only took one test. So we'll be waiting to hear from the state if that's going to continue moving forward. Enrichment, if anyone's attended one of our tours, we definitely share about our enrichment programs. So we do have we offer a robust selection of classes for our students to take after the school day has concluded. There's a small fee to cover the costs of the adults that are chaperoning or proctoring those after school programs. But we have fencing, dance, Spanish, cooking, arts and crafts, you name it, it's available. One of the great things that STEM has done, and I've seen it done personally 2 times with 2 clubs in the last year with COVID, we had a 5th grade student that said, let's do a book club. So the parent, his parent actually was that sponsor, and they had an online book club. So it came out of a creation of a student's desire. Another club was a chess club. We did not have chess before, but we had a 6th grade student that said, after seeing the Queen's Gambit, can we do an online chess club? So if they have the students and the desire for them to meet and have a club, and we can find an adult to sponsor it, it will occur. So keep an eye on the website. I know that Ms. Phelps, our director of the enrichment program, said she is going to have those posted here probably the end of July. You'll start to see the posting for the enrichment classes. Currently, right now, we do have summer programs already planned for this upcoming summer. So, and I know those are on the website. The last I heard, we will have 4 different camps. Those are a great opportunity for students, especially new students to STEM, to be able to come on campus and get to know some of their peers. And it's a shorter duration. So it might be a half-day camp. It might be, 3 days out of the 5. But that's definitely something to look into if you're looking for something for your children to do this summer. I think we have a camp invention. I don't know if there's a Lego robotics club planned, but they're also STEM related. So. In addition to our enrichment program, we do have an after-school program through Douglas County School District. It is a base program. It is run as a separate entity from STEM. It's not our after-school program. It is a DCSD program. However, I can say that I've worked with quite a few after-school programs, and I am very happy to say that our base program is phenomenal. We do work hand in hand with the director, Amy DuPays, and it's offered after school from 2:30 to 6. If you're interested or you're needing aftercare, I would definitely look at the link or click the link here for registration. And I would encourage you to do it sooner than later, because with COVID restrictions and the amount of students they can have after school, there's a waiting list. So you're going to want to get your name on that, even if you don't plan on using it right from the start or don't know when you'd want to use it, but you want to get on that registration list as soon as possible. Students can choose to do the base program coupled with the enrichment program. So they'd go to an enrichment class for about 45 minutes right after school. And then from the enrichment program, the base directors and staff pick them up, or they meet in the lobby, and then they can go to the base program. So they're able to still participate in those enrichment classes. But like I said, our base program is pretty amazing. I've seen other after school programs, and it's kind of just wild and crazy kids running about and not doing homework or working constructively. She has an amazing program. So something worth looking into if you need after school care. Our Driveline. So we are a charter school. We do not have school buses. So all of our students are dropped off and picked up. We do have a pretty extensive Driveline process. We use an app called Pick My Kid. So as we get closer to the year, you'll receive an email about information regarding Pick My Kid app. But every parent or grandparent, nanny, whoever you want to delegate as a pickup person will need the Pick My Kid app. So you'll need to download that program. The Pick My Kid app works so that our students are able to stay in their classroom until your car is in front of the school. So only you can pick them up. You have to announce them. And there's a special code that we'll send out to you. So that way it's secure. And the kids are able to stay into the classroom. They have the computer screen up in front of them. They see that your car is now in the pickup queue, and they head on down. We have our instructional assistants. We have 12 on our staff that are out there, including admin and Robert Hornstra, our chief operations officer. And we're all out there helping load kiddos, and in the morning, pick them up. Some of the big rules of our Driveline is that safety is most important. I share with parents on the tour that it works kind of like a locking system. So we ask that you have slow speeds when you enter on the Driveline, no cell phones. And then you follow the directions to the staff and volunteers. As you come around, I'll show you a little image in a minute. When you come around to the front, it's a locking system because we allow about 50 cars, 40, 50 cars in that front loading area. An adult stands at the front with a stop sign, and an adult stands at the back to prohibit more cars coming in. All the adults meet your child at the door. We greet every child. We open the door. We make sure that all kids are safely on the sidewalk before opening that stop sign and letting the next group of cars go out. So we work really hard to make sure that our students are safe during this pickup and drop off process. Students are dropped off at, or 7:20 is when we start opening doors for our kiddos. And then our teachers meet their students at 7:30 to enter the building. 7:40 is the late bell. So we want to ask that students are in the classroom at 7:40, but drop off begins at 7:20. So they have about a 15-20 minute window, and it moves very quickly through that drop off process. We do ask that students are picked up within 20 minutes of their release time, and then a late fee is charged for $1 per minute per student after that 3:15 mark. Here's a little image of our Driveline. So if you look, you're going to enter off of Barron's. You're only allowed to make a right-hand turn off of Barron's, and it kind of loops around our southwest parking lot and up through the front of the school, where it says that STEM Elementary School in that center. That is our main entrance where students are let in at the beginning of the day and exit. So all students come in and out of that main entrance there. If you look towards the front of that Driveline, if you're heading a little bit further north on Barron's, the front of the Driveline to the right there is a kindergarten first grade sandbox. So when the students are let out, the kindergarten first grade is behind a fence. We have adults there waiting with them till their teachers show up. And then the older kids, 2nd through 5th, are a little bit further south towards the southwest lot. Student check-in and registration. There's no physical student check-in as there has been in the past. So at previous schools, if you're coming from a previous school, or if you have a kindergarten parent, everything used to be done on paper and pen, and you'd receive a packet that first week of school, probably about 20 pieces of paper for each of your children. So those days are long gone, but everything is done electronically. So your schedules will be, student schedules will be at Infinite Campus during the summer, and then you'll receive the information regarding the different paperwork that you're going to have to fill in prior to the start of school. If you have any questions about registration, Stephanie Webb is the person to reach out to for the registration. If you're interested in being involved in the STEM community, we definitely want our parents to be as involved as they are able to be. Before going into committees and volunteer hours, I will say, prior to COVID, it's a pretty open door policy. We want parents to sign up and come into the classroom and support our kids. We know our students do best when they have more small group attention. So we definitely enjoy having our parents being involved in the classroom or on campus. The parents are asked to do 30 hours per family. Because of COVID, it's more challenging to get those hours, or it has been this past year, but we still have parents that are volunteering, helping us in the Driveline. They help us in the back with playground time, and then they also help with outdoor lunch. Next year, we'll be able to hopefully resume and have all the parents on campus and attending our field trips with us as well. Some other ways to join the STEM community is to be a part of our school accountability committee. It's called SAC. PTO, a parent teacher organization. And then how you reach them is through that stemk12.org, the drop down box for PTO, parents, or SAC. So. Safety. So I know we have a lot of questions about how we keep our students safe on campus. Every person that enters the STEM school building either has to have a DCSD badge or a STEM badge and a key fob. Everybody else has to go through a Raptor guest registration. So all individuals need to turn in their driver's license, and they run it through Raptor. So identifies for any felons or anything that should prohibit the adult to be around our children. So we check all of our adults on campus. Once it goes through Raptor, they're given a guest badge, and we work really hard to teach our kiddos to identify adults that they don't know on campus, and especially if they don't have that badge on them, that they know to reach out to another adult. We do have security cameras around campus. The students are aware of those. From time to time, we do look back on them, but it is secure. Nicole Bostel, can you jump in? I have a feeling my dogs are going to start.
Yes. I think you were on security cameras. And so at STEM, we have security cameras throughout the inside and throughout the outside of the building. We have a security manager. His name is Jeff Martinez. He manages all of that. He works very closely with with certain members of our leadership team. And we do have a kind of a security team, and that's encompassed with our SRO, Deputy Gabe Uribe, Mr. Jeff Martinez, Miss Anna Magli-Haberak, Miss Liz Dugan, and at times Miss McElroy is also involved in that, depending on the grade level and the disciplinary issue. And so I kind of touched on our security personnel there as well. Safety drills, we have mandatory monthly evacuation drills that we have to conduct. It's a state requirement that we meet those, that we conduct those drills. We also have to do drills centered around lockout, shelter in place, hold, and I believe there's another one that I'm blanking on right now, but those happen. Some of those are once every month, and some of those are once every other month, and some are once a quarter. Certain drills you will receive a notification, others you will not. You will receive a follow-up communication once the drill is complete. And then our multiple mental health care providers, so we're fully funded and staffed for mental health supports from K all the way up through 12. You can find that on our website if you click on under academics, there's student support services, and then you can click on, you can click through those various different options to meet our counseling team and to see also all of our mental health supports that are there for social and emotional learning. Ms. Kovaleski, are you back?
I'm back. Thank you. Thank you. I did not introduce Ms. Bostel at the very beginning, but she is our communication directors here at STEM. So she'll be the one you'll be hearing from weekly with our parent newsletters and student newsletters, and there to support us on various other aspects at STEM. So thank you, Nicole, for jumping in and saving me. STEM and parent partnership. So we definitely believe in a strong partnership with our families. We have frequent conversations and remind students on the mask requirements, and we ask that you do the same until that mask mandate is lifted, hopefully before the beginning of next year. But we do ask that you help support us in those efforts. We know that there are times that there's tough times with our students, whether it's academically or behaviorally, but we do our best to keep you informed and work with you to keep your child, your family, and STEM staff as safe as possible. So it definitely takes a team. So if you have a question, we definitely want you to reach out, or a question or a concern. We're here to support. We ask that you engage in problem solving conversation first with your child's teacher. So if it's a concern regarding the academic learning or something happening in class, that would be your first go-to. If it cannot be resolved, then we want you to follow that communication pathway and reach out to either myself or Amy McElroy, especially in terms of behaviors. And that we might not always have all the answers and solutions, but we want to partner with you and work with you to find those solutions and support your children during their time at STEM. Other sources of communication, and this leads right back to Nicole Vostell. So I'm going to let her share all the communication that she shares with you guys on a regular basis.
Yes, thank you so much. So at the start of this upcoming school year, you'll receive a couple of welcome videos and kind of just introductions on what to expect. We'll be rolling that out toward the beginning of August, so just be on the lookout for that. All of our families get their email addresses from IC get uploaded into our newsletter system. We run that through Constant Contact. That we send out a weekly newsletter. This year it is on Fridays. Last year it was on Thursdays. We encourage all of our families to take a look at that newsletter every week. There's a lot of content, but that's how we push everything out, is through our newsletters first. So familiarize yourself with that. You can see current versions of that on the, if you click on the parent option of our website, it's in the top right-hand corner. And then if you click on Get Connected, you'll see the archives of all of our newsletters there. And then you can familiarize yourself with some of the information that we're pushing out. We have an elementary only section so that we kind of filter the information for our families who only have elementary school students. And in that newsletter, you will find everything from events that we have coming up to important information that we have about various different programs or initiatives that we have going on. If there's any type of an emergency notification, that goes out through our school messenger system, but we do not utilize that for everything because that can get pretty overwhelming for our families. So our newsletter is our source of all of our information. That information also gets posted to our website. And then we also post stuff to our Facebook page, our Instagram, our YouTube, our Twitter account. And we do have a LinkedIn, but that we're not quite as active on LinkedIn. Oh, I think you jumped around a little bit.
Yeah, I'm
Nicole.
going to go back to it. I was going to add that we are starting a new texting system as well. So it's in the trial phase right now, but there could be a chance in the future that you would receive text messages.
And then Nicole, would you be able to address, there's quite a few questions about where to find the carpool. I know that we have some on our website, some stuff.
Sure. So really the section that you'll want to look at as a parent, in the top right-hand corner on our homepage, you'll see the word parents. If you click on that, that will then give you three options: get involved, get connected, and get informed. So I would highly recommend that you explore all three of those options. The Get Informed is the one that has the majority of the content that you'll be wanting to know about Driveline, the lunch program, technology requirements, school nurse, anything that you need to know you can find in any one of those sections. So when you click on I believe it's Get Informed, there'll be a section off to the right that talks about Driveline. When you click on that, that will then have an option there that will indicate how our carpool is run, and that's through an outside service that's called Way to Go. So we don't run anything on that platform. It's basically I believe it's a nonprofit organization that helps connect families with one another at specific schools. so that they can create their own carpool. So you have the option to either host a carpool or take part in a carpool. And you do that through that Way to Go organization. The Pick My Kid app, we have very detailed information on there, how to set up your account, how to use the app, and how to also get help. Please don't do anything with that just yet. As a new parent, we don't have your information uploaded in Pick My Kid. And so if you are trying to set it up right now, we won't have that 3-digit code that you're looking for, and you'll just get frustrated with it. So in August, we will send you information on how to set up your Pick My Kid account.
Really quick on the carpool, it's asking, I looked at the directions and it has you, wants you to log into the Infinite Campus portal in order to get to that link. Should we?
Yes, so once you're imported, so the rollover happens in July. Okay, and so if you're trying to get into Infinite Campus right now and you don't have an account, that could be why. And it could also be if you're not associated, if you have an Infinite Campus account and you're not associated with our school yet, you won't see, it won't be able to connect you just yet. So once the system automatically uploads or does their rollover for the new information in July, then you'll be able to start connecting your accounts. Okay, the only other thing that is listed on there is our communications pathways on the website. And we highly recommend that you take a look at that. We'll have an updated one in August, so you can take a look at the one that we currently have right now. At the end of every school year, we always have kind of a shift in roles and responsibilities, so it will update, but that will kind of walk you through the various different scenarios. If you have a question, who you should start with first. It is strongly encouraged that you follow that process. If you jump over a person in that kind of chain that we have set up, it does create a little bit of confusion, and it does create some extra work because let's say, for instance, one of your questions wanted you to start first with the classroom teacher and you jump straight to Miss Kowaleski. It creates work on her end to then have to go back to the teacher and say, have you spoken? Are you aware of this? Or anything like that. So we always ask that you please follow that process. That was something that was designed and created by our school accountability committee. So our parents created that one. And that was to help assist with our communications at STEM. The last thing that I just want to mention is you will not find direct phone numbers to any staff members on our website. We have our all of our emails are listed. There's 2 different options. If you click on faculty and staff, that's under About Us. You will see some options toward the bottom where you can hit the plus button, and it drops down more information, and there you'll see an alphabetical list, and then the next option that you have is a list, alphabetical list kind of by school or by department. And so a lot of our faculty and our admin, they move throughout the building throughout the day. So we don't list their phone numbers there. We do ask that you, if you have a question directly for an admin, that you call that main line, and then the front office will get you connected to the appropriate person. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Nicole. We're going to move to breakout rooms. I promised the teachers that are on the call that I try to get them off by 7. I appreciate that they're here. Michelle Gasser is going to post the breakout rooms. So if you'd like to head over to one of those breakout rooms, I think I'm going to be in kindergarten. I don't know that I have a kindergarten teacher that was able to attend tonight, but you're going to head over to one of those breakout sessions. We'll be in there for about 10 minutes. I know that there are quite a few questions still in the chat box. I'm happy to stay on, and any of the teachers that want to stay on to answer some questions, we could stay on, 7:15, 7:20, but I will definitely be there to answer questions, and you can always jump back and send an email. So we are going to share those breakout rooms. Do you have them, Michelle?
Yes, so I'm going to open up the breakout rooms. We have kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, And then one breakout room for specials. They're self-selecting. So if it does not pop up as self-selecting, it's because we'll put you into the room. It's because your Zoom is not updated. So they're open now. You should be able to join any of the breakout rooms.
Michelle, are the breakout rooms posted?
They're named. So when you see breakout rooms, if you click on the word breakout rooms, they're named first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. I'm going to pop into fourth grade so I can answer questions maybe.
So if you're operating on a computer,
Hello. Let's see if we get anybody else coming in, and then I can answer your questions about fourth grade. I think we're still trying to get a couple of people who are unassigned here. Well, while we're waiting, do you have any questions about fourth grade or anything that we do in fourth grade?
If you don't be surprised if I doodle on myself. I do it all the time.
She likes to doodle.
Yes, a lot.
Yep.
All right.
I don't need a paper. I just need a pen. Just need a pen and me.
Okay. Well, I can tell you a little bit about
Please,
what we do in fourth grade.
Please.
So-
That would help a lot.
Sure. So fourth grade, our team has been together for quite a while. I won't be part of fourth grade next year, but I'll still be in every classroom doing instructional coaching. However, the team has been together for quite a long time and works very well together. So in the morning, our schedule is that we pick up the students at 7:30. At about 7:40 is usually what we call that 7:30 to 7:40, we call a soft start time. That's your time to get yourself together, sharpen your pencils, put your backpacks away and such. And then we start with our day. So our math is our first section. What we do with math is at the beginning of the year, we take all of the students take iReady. We also give them an end of the year fourth grade assessment. And then we level the students throughout fourth grade. So we take the teacher labels away and we label all 100 to 120 kids, however many we have. And we see what are their math needs. And then they will switch to that math teacher. So some students will need accelerated math. This year I am teaching, this year's a little bit different, but this year I'm teaching a fifth grade math group and a group that has just started sixth grade curriculum. And then we have typically a group that is doing the fourth grade material, but they're doing it at a faster rate. So each one of us gives a pretest for each unit or each module. And then based on that pretest determines whether or not, if you know the content, we skip those lessons and we move on. So whatever lessons the group needs is what we do. And then every 6 to 8 weeks, we progress monitor a child and then we move either up or down depending on that child. We also meet as a team. Oh my gosh. And we discuss, is this child performing to where they need to perform? Sometimes it's a lack of motivation, like I'm just not going to do my work. And then if you can't show that you're doing your work, then we might have to move you down a math group and you have to prove that you can do it over the next 6 weeks to get moved back, right? And sometimes we move up based off of test scores. Maybe you didn't test so well at the beginning of the year. We do those 6 weeks, and then we say, this isn't the right group for you. We need to move you up. So that's typically every 6 to 8 weeks that we do that progress monitoring and move students around based on their needs. After math, we do a snack recess. Our snack recess is also a time that we allow for students to choose to stay in and work on projects, retake assessments, or complete any missing work that they have to do. So it's kind of like a mix of a study hall and or snack recess, depending. Then we have social studies. I'm not sure how they're going to do it next year, but we were doing 1 day a week. We were doing computer science during the social studies block. But this, we typically have social studies. All of our social studies is Colorado history. So you will see that all of our field trips involve Colorado history, and they're timed to match our units. So when we go to Manitou Springs and we go to the cliff dwellings, then that's because we're learning about ancestral Puebloans at that point in time. And then when we go to the Plains Conservation Center and we do the Cheyenne and Arapaho, Native Americans, and then we also go through the settlers that came over in sod house and lived in the sod houses. We'll go and visit there so that we then can connect what we're learning in class to that real world experience. And we do a full day program with them. After science, we have specials. After specials, we have, after social studies, we have specials. Then we have science. For our science, we rotate typically every 2 to 3 weeks. What we do is each teacher, we have taken apart. So for example, for life science, we've taken all of the standards for life science and we partner with the Denver Zoo. And the Denver Zoo has a long-term plan over the next 10 years to redo their exhibits. And they want ideas from the students. So what we do is each teacher teaches their life science unit, and then the students will take what they're learning in class and will apply it to that design for the Denver Zoo. So in my class, they'll learn about what they need in order to build their own shelters. They'll have what they need to be able to protect themselves and feel safe. In another class, they learn all about the structures of plants. And so you'll need to incorporate the plants and vegetation within your animal's habitat that are conducive to that animal, not harmful for that animal, but also for that environment. We have another teacher who does a full adaptation and habitats unit. So the students will import that. And then the last one is on natural disasters. And so then you'll have to make an emergency plan as to what you're going to do if you were the zoo with that animal if a natural disaster were to happen. Can't put the lions with the antelopes because that won't work out well. And then throughout this, we not only have the Denver Zoo come to us to work through some of those with us, but we go to the zoo. Now, our visit to the zoo is very different than like a kindergarten or first grade visit would be to the zoo. We are there to do research. So we're not there touring the whole zoo. We explore 2 or 3 exhibits. We have our notebooks and we're exploring what does the exhibit currently have? What are the needs that it would possibly need? And how can we make this exhibit not only benefit the animal, but also benefit the zoo goers? How can we make it interactive for them? So that is our big life science unit. And then we get into our earth science unit and our energy unit. And for next year with our energy unit, we're going to do the same section or same system where each teacher is going to have 2 weeks about 2 to 3 weeks rotations. And with each class, you are making a game board, but your game board has to, like in one class, it's circuits. So you'll have to light something up. You'll have to make something make a noise. The other class has sound waves. So that's where you'll incorporate the sounds because they use wave energy. My course would be renewable energy. So now you have to make it so that the game board has the ability to use renewable energy to power itself versus a battery. So each time you go through these stations, or these classes, they build upon themselves to produce one product. And then we will present those to Hasbro and Mattel and such, these game boards, to see if they're interested in taking our designs and developing them into a game.
That's cool.
That's science. And then we go to lunch and recess. And then in the afternoon, we have language arts. We follow a traditional guided reading. However, we incorporate PBL into language arts as well. So when we do our novel studies, the students then engineer and design an alternative solution to the problem that the character has then within the story. So that in a nutshell is 4th grade. That's a lot.
I like 4th grade.
I love what they're doing.
Yeah. We're very happy with what you said about math.
Oh, with math?
Great. Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Fantastic.
And
Wonderful.
we do that K through 5. And then what ends up happening in 5th grade, if they qualify when they are in 5th grade, and this is the really, really hard part, they have to qualify to be able to, we do send a few, usually about 2 to 3 are about all that can qualify, 5th graders to 6th grade to take pre-algebra. So they'll actually go up to 6th grade. But it's really hard to be able to get.
Yeah, that's really hard to get a 5th grader ready to be in. Yeah, that's
but
not
we
easy.
do have some students who are ready. And if you're ready for it, why should we stay behind and wait?
Right.
If you're ready, you're ready. Okay.
Any questions about 4th grade?
Pickup times. I have a middle schooler and a grade schooler. Do I drop them both off and then pick them up both at the same time? And then there's like this staggered 10-minute.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
So your middle schooler, you would drop off around that. I'd be as close to 7:30 as possible. Your middle schooler will walk to the middle school, the cafeteria, which is right next to the high school entrance. It's not the middle school entrance, so they don't have to walk around the whole school. They go over there and they can wait in the cafeteria. It's only about a 15-minute wait. They just hang out in the cafeteria area and then head to class.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then after school, what happens is that the students this year, because of COVID, they have to stay in their homeroom. But next year, the teachers rotate. They all take a week, and then the students will wait with that teacher. We call it sibling care. So they will wait in that classroom until 2:55, and then we walk them outside and they wait on the stone. And the middle schoolers are told, and we ask parents to remind the middle schoolers, hey, go pick up your younger sibling, because they will come to the elementary Driveline instead of middle school Driveline.
Right.
So all sibling pickup is at elementary Driveline. And usually the elementary school kids are waiting at their stones because they have stones that have their teachers' names on it, which is where the middle schoolers are supposed to come. It's usually the middle schoolers we have to find because they're on their phones, hanging out with their friends, and you know, that we usually have to hunt them down. I would say definitely middle school pick up around 2:55, 3 o'clock. They won't let you in before that anyways. You'll get a colored placard that'll say sibling care. And then, and then you can come right through the Driveline and pick them up.
That's easy. I can do that.
Very easy.
Okay.
Yep.
I believe that I missed the middle school version of this. I had a horrible migraine. Did someone record that?
I believe so. I don't know. I think they did. We can ask
That would be
Nicole
good.
Boswell because she's the communication director where they put it. I think it's right on the website.
That would
I
be useful.
do believe that there's a middle school section on the website, and I believe
Okay.
that that's where it's at, but we can ask her when we go back to the main session.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That would be helpful.
And next year, we're adding 5 minutes to the schedule, so we will not dismiss at 2:30. We dismiss at 2:35. And I think middle school, instead of 2:55, dismisses at 3. So, but it's the same system, it's just 5 minutes delayed. So
Okay, that's easy enough.
it should be pretty easy. Other than that, they don't really need anything for 4th grade. If she wants to bring a computer, she can totally bring a computer. There are specifications that are on the website in order to connect to our internet. You might have to buy, I think they're like $10, depending on how old your computer is, adapter, but we do have computer carts in every single classroom, and she will have a Chromebook to use. She cannot take it home, but she will have it to use all day long. And it is hers to use. Well, it's the school's, but she can use it all day long.
Right.
We have to tell the kids that all the time, like, that's not yours.
But you can use it.
But you can use it. It's yours to use.
It's
for the
assigned to
entire
you
school.
while you're there.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Whole year. I'm trying to think of what else. Definitely bring a water bottle.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely bring a snack. Oh, office hours. So office hours. This year we did not have office hours due to COVID. However, next year I believe we're going to be able to go back to office hours. Office hours run, depending on the teacher, typically 1 to 2 days a week. The teacher will have office hours from about that 2:30 time, so 2:30, 2:35 until 3:30. You can pick them up anytime in between that time, but office hours are where we do assessment makeups. So assessment makeups cannot be made up at home. Assessments have to be made up at school. It's also a time for them to get help on any assignments that they don't understand or that they might be struggling with. And I think that's it for office hours. I think it's once or twice a week, and the teachers will post them on the on their Canvas, because we use Canvas for everything in 4th grade.
Okay.
So if you're not familiar with Canvas, we send out a parent link or a parent video at the beginning of the year on how to become familiar with Canvas. My suggestion as a parent myself, I hate the parent portal on Canvas. I just make my child log on, and I look over their shoulder at their grades. And I'm like, let me see what you've got. Because as a parent, you can see their grades, but you cannot click on the actual assignment to see what they're supposed to do. You have to be in student view to see that. So it's really, other than a quick glance, it's really not that great.
Okay.
So, I think that's it.
Cool.
Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
For me?
No?
All right.
No.
Yeah, that was really comprehensive.
Yeah,
Thank
very-
you. Yeah.
I've been doing this a long time. And we have a lot of enrichment programs. Those are really neat to definitely check out, from fencing to chess. I don't know if we'll have a Lego league because they've kind of suspended that, but we're looking at, we have a lot of things: dance, theater, art, running club, all of that.
Oh, so they do have some sort of track and field thing for elementary school?
We have 2 teachers that run a running club. They do it at the beginning of the year and they do it at the end of the year. It's not a competition though. We're not competitive. We don't compete with other schools.
Perfect.
That's fine.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's like a hangout and we run kind of club.
That's exactly what she wants.
That's what,
Okay.
she'll be thrilled. Okay, so
I do
fence,
track and field because
yeah,
Now-
fencing and track and field, that's our,
And we were
that's where
not
we
able
land.
to, we were able to offer fencing at the end of the year. We were not able to offer running club this year. However, we're really hopeful we can offer everything again next year because we're 5 days a week next year.
Right. Okay, cool.
All right.
Hey, thanks for having this session. Really very informative. I have.
Oh,
a
I'm
few
sorry.
questions.
I didn't notice there was someone else in here. I think your camera's
No
off and
worries.
that's why.
Yeah. So I saw there were some quick start guide links on the presentation. Will those be shared later in an email?
Yes, so we're going to put the presentation on the website as well as
Okay.
this video. And then so you'll be able to see those quick start guides. And then the
Okay.
other part will be, it is pretty much everything I just went over, but I know that's a lot of words that I went
Sure.
over.
And
But
regarding volunteering, how are we supposed to fulfill that requirement of 30 hours per family? Because we are not allowed to come into the school due to the pandemic. So
right. So this year we did not hold parents accountable for the volunteer hours because it was nearly impossible to do volunteer hours. But we have Driveline. We're always looking for parent volunteers in Driveline. We also have at recess times. So throughout the day at different recess times, we're always looking for parent volunteers to help because that is outdoors. When we can be back in school, obviously in the classroom, in the cafeteria, and such would be definite ways to do that. They also have, and I'm not sure what the donation breakdown is, but if you donate like supplies and school supplies and stuff like that, that can count towards a certain number of volunteer hours. I just don't know what the breakdown is for that.
sure, sounds good. And over the summer break, are you providing any material for the students?
We are not. We
Okay.
have the Camp Invention,
Right.
which I know they're really trying to run this year. My personal thing is I'm trying to get TSA running for elementary school. So we'll see if that works. That's an engineering thing we do in the middle and high school. So
Right.
being that I'm moving into this new role, I'm going to try really hard to bring TSA to elementary. I don't know if I'll be successful next year, but that's my hope. But curriculum wise, we are not doing any like summer school or putting anything out for students. We always say you
Like
can-
summer reading, recommended reading.
we don't put out a recommended reading list. We have Epic. One of the reasons why we don't do a lot of that is because a lot of what we do in school or what you'll see in the classroom is going to be different than what you'll see in a traditional school, in the sense of all of ours comes from a problem-based learning and like a real world approach to our learning versus drill and kill. We don't do a lot of worksheets at all.
Right.
You'll see very few worksheets other than math. Math is the only worksheet that we'll do on a daily basis.
Okay, that's perfect. Thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions? I will say that the fees can be a little heavy for field trips for 4th grade, and I apologize for that, but the experiences are incredible. And if you're able to chaperone on them, you're going to learn more about Colorado history than you ever thought you would need to know. So.
Sure. So will there be field trips because there's the pandemic going on?
As far as I know, yes. And we're getting
Kind of have the rest of their evening back. And if
I had
you
a question.
any additional questions after this, then just go ahead and you can either email Ms. Kowaleski or you can email communications.
Hi, I had a question.
Yep.
My kid is going to be in kindergarten this year. I don't know. it let me out of that break room. I don't know if I'm supposed to ask the question here.
Well,
so
we're getting toward the end of the info session, so that's why we had to close out the breakout room.
oh, okay. Sounds good. So, so is there any requirement for the kids? Like my kid, like, do you have any specific prerequisites for them? Because you said, do you teach them from scratch? Like my kid might not be at the range like other kids. So how do you take care of kids like that?
We have students at all different levels. So especially at kindergarten, we have kids that are coming in as readers. We have kids that are still learning their letters, their sounds, and their numbers. Any practice you can do with them over the summer would be helpful, but we definitely work at every child's individual needs, and that goes for all grades.
Okay, and you said the base program. So is it like a school, or is it for more extracurricular and co-curricular activities during the summer?
It's an after school program, and they do have care during the summer. I don't know if they're taking students that are coming into kindergarten into base. We are taking into the Invention summer camps. So if you go into the Enrichment, there are camps available at STEM for our incoming kindergartners as well as other grades, but I'm not sure if base takes incoming kindergartners. You would have to reach out to Amy DePaze, and the link will be on this website.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see.
I have a question for you guys.
Go ahead.
I know that you mentioned that there was a trial period that kindergartens could take.
Yes,
when
we're
going to be notified of that?
I wouldn't say it's a trial period. It's a kindergarten roundup. So the past year we had to move it to the very first week of school because of COVID, and we couldn't have kiddos attending any sooner. I'm hoping to be able to do it a couple weeks before school starts, but I have to coordinate with the new kindergarten team, a couple of new kindergarten teachers that haven't started us just yet. But you'll get information within the next, I would say within a month, because I'm going to coordinate with them before they head out for the summer. So as soon as I have it all put together, I will send that information out. It's not a requirement, but it does help us to get to know your student better, and then the students to get to know the school without all of the other students present. So they'll come for a couple hours, they get to know all the teachers, we get to do some informal observations on those skills, and then create those class lists at kindergarten.
And what time does that begin?
That's something I have to work on with the teachers, but it's a half day. There isn't a lunch period. So more than likely it would be like an 8 to 11.
Okay, thank you so much.
Of course.
So are you giving next year the option of in-person versus online, or are you returning to in-person?
I'm gonna answer your question, but I'm gonna allow our teachers and thank them very, very much, because this next 2 weeks are extremely busy and they're working overtime to conclude the school year for everybody. So thank you, teachers. If you want to stick around, you are more than welcome to. If not, I want you to go and rest and not do schoolwork, and I will see you tomorrow morning. All right, so as far as online and in person, yes, we are going to offer online. We will be going 5 days a week next week. This week we're 4. We are asking that parents choose one or the other. This past year, we allowed our parents to transition in and out of online and in person, and it became very cumbersome and very hard on our teachers to be able to meet the needs of all of our learners. So we had kids that were online, we had kids that were in person, and we had kids that were doing a little bit of both, a hybrid. So this incoming year, we're asking that parents make a commitment for the first semester. If there is available room in another classroom for in-person the second semester, they could switch to in-person from online to in-person, but only if the space is available. And we can't make any guarantees with that, but we will have a designated online teacher. This year, like I said, every single teacher was doing it all. And we quickly realized that was very exhausting and put a lot of strain on teachers. So the online teachers will be an individual teacher. We haven't with that survey is the data that we need to determine how many online teachers do we need. Do we need an online teacher at every single grade level? Do we need a K1 online teacher? Do we need a K3? It just depends on those numbers. And that's why those surveys are so important, that we receive that information from all of our parents. So we're able to start the hiring process for those online teachers. Does anyone have any other questions?
So the lunch program is paid through your My School Bucks account. You will set that up at the beginning of the school year.
Right now, it's free this year, and the federal government, as of right now, has said that it will continue next year. But the government can change that at any given time. So yes, register for My School Bucks, but it is funded right now through the federal government.
So in order for it to be free, just keep in mind there has to be very specific things that your student picks in order for that lunch to be free. So if they choose an option, so there has to be, I believe, 2 healthy options. So a vegetable and maybe a fruit, in addition to whatever else they pick. They can't just pick chips and cookies and soda, or I don't think we have soda, but they can't just pick 4 cookies and it be free. If they choose to do that, that's where your My School Bucks account would come into play. And so that's why we always encourage families to make sure that they have funds available on that. However, the staff for DCSD Nutrition Services, who runs our kitchens, they will, they look at what the students are picking, and then they identify this is free, and then they don't charge the student.
So basically snacks are not free.
Correct.
But, yeah.
And can students get their own lunch as well along with it? Is it like only the lunches?
No, absolutely. We encourage you to send healthy lunch and healthy snacks always.
Got it.
Are there any other questions?
So, Ekaterina, I was just typing your message, but I may as well tell you, if your child's first language is not English at the beginning of the year, they will be tested at, with the ELD program, and then they will receive supports through that.
If there's no other questions, feel free to have a good evening. We'll hang out here for probably about another 5 minutes or so for any remaining questions. Otherwise, or till about 7:30. We'll call it 7:30.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much.
Thank you.
Now we can start being.
So this is Vikas here. For the after school program, which is from 2:30 to 5:30, that is the base registration?
Yes.
Correct. We have the base, and then the enrichment programs run usually about 45 minutes to an hour. It just depends on the class that they take.
Mm-hmm.
So they could do the enrichment program and then go to base afterwards.
Got it. Okay. And this also covers the summer camp registration as well, or is that a separate?
The summer camp registration you'll find on the enrichment tab on our website. So that's where you will find that information. I do believe that Camp Invention is run through DCSD at STEM, but there is a link. Nicole, is there a link to that? Have you been working with Sarah on that?
Yes, so any camp where we have a registration link on that enrichment page that I shared earlier in the chat box, and I believe I can share it again. You will see the link next to it on how to register.
Got it.
Tours for those still on the call. We will be resuming tours once the students are off campus. So information will be sent out and we'll be having tours. Nicole, did we say in the mornings for the next 2 weeks after school gets out?
So the next in-person tour that we're going to do is going to be on, I believe it's Wednesday, the 26th, and I believe it'll be from 10 to 11. So there'll be a sign up genius that Miss Webb will send out to the families that have not been able to take part in a tour just yet. I believe the one following after that would be June 2nd, and then the one after that would be June 9th.
I think we're down to the last minute. Thank you all for joining us this evening. It was wonderful to speak to so many of you, and we look forward to seeing you in the fall.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you.